Sanmanan. Yo, people lie. You know, you hear our sisters all the time complaining about how men lie. And at the same time, you hear our brothers complaining, "Good say is I mean, they lie, they this, they that." And I was on a podcast a couple of days ago, and we're speaking about relationships, and the whole thing is like the foundation of relationships that we have today is just built on lies. When unamanga, naming namanga. And I'm like, I've got a solution. I've got a solution. It's not a perfect solution. It's not a perfect solution, but it's something. I think we should have relationship CVs. A CV, a resume, whatever you want to call it, but we should all have it. Men and women alike. When you're applying for a job, you put forward your CV. Is your CV perfect? No, it's not, but it's better than you just rocking up. Hey, this is me. So again, no CV is perfect. But if you finished school in grade 11 and dropped out, I don't see you writing Harvard PhD. If you are straight out of university, I don't see you writing university plus 15 years experience. Again, that would be weird, because what we would do is we'd be like, Aibo, this person is 22. When did they get 20 years experience? It won't match up. So I've been thinking about this, and I'm like, so if we're going to have a CV, then we should also have the job requirements. So if you wanted to date Upensin and Upensin is in the market, I'm single and available, these are now the requirements in order to date me. And then OCC bring forth their CVs, and then I sift through it before we go into the interview stage, before I hire someone and we go through probation. The same with the sisters, exact opposite. So if Upalesa is single, if Upalesa is single and these are the requirements, there's a job opening, these are the requirements, then Tina as a machita, we put forward our CVs, and then from there she sifts through it, and then she shortlists, she interviews, and then you go and get that probation. Because as it is now, whether we like to admit it or not, there is a requirement. You hear sisters all the time that they want to date a guy that's this height, you want to date a guy that earns this amount of money, you want to date a guy like this and like that, like that. Okay, sharp. Those are requirements, So when we come there, we don't have to bullshit you. We don't have to lie, So we already say, okay, she wants guys that are LeBron James height. Why would I even put in my CV? She wants guys that make R1 million a day. Why would I even have to put my CV? I don't have to try and convince her through lies. I don't have to kind of, no, don't worry, baby. I'm only 34. I'm going to get taller. Right now it's just, why? We don't do that with jobs. We don't try and finesse people. Yes, you might not be the perfect candidate, but you make it through. But it's very close to the requirements. So they might say we need someone with 5 years experience and you've only got 4. That's good enough. You can squeeze in. If she says, hey, I'm looking for a guy who's 2 meters tall and you just happen to be 196, she might let you through. But what she's trying to do is saying with the guys who are 1.7, don't even bother. If she's saying I need a guy who has R1 million a day type of lifestyle, if you're making 50 rand a day, don't even bother. She might be flexible if you make 900 a day. That's what I'm trying to get to with the CV, because she gets to see it before she gets to hear your bullshit, And if there's one thing that us guys are phenomenal at, is lying to sisters. And if there's one thing that our sisters are amazing at, is lying and omitting to us, So give me, this has to be something. Aren't you guys tired of getting lied to? Aren't you guys tired of like fucking thinking Guti she's like this, you're going out and then you find out she's like that? Like, surely that must be frustrating. I'm frustrated just thinking about it, So give me, it just goes without saying. Okay, sharp. Our sisters, from a physical point, they're looking for a guy that's this tall, that's dark skinned, tall, dark and handsome, whatever bullshit that they say. Guys, sure. I'm looking for a sister as well. We look at it from a mental point, from an educational point. Sis is like, who's got at least a diploma or has been to university. Sharp, Puti, you also write in your list of requirements. And again, from a financial point, the sister's like, look, I'm looking for a guy. As much as I bring in something, I work as a sister, but I'm looking for a guy who can match my salary, if not earn more. Sure, put those requirements so that we can see, Guti, Oh, from her requirement, she's looking for a guy who makes at least 25K gross salary a month. Okay, that's minimum requirement. She's not saying which she'll settle for that. I mean, she's not saying which that's what she's wanting, but that's minimum requirements. Ideally, the more, the better. But we have an understanding. So now we are CV. You're like, hey, I'm qualified up. You don't have to make any assumptions. You don't have to see her with her weaves and make an assumption, or see her driving a car and make an assumption, because her requirements might be like, look, I've got the car, I've got the house, I've got this. I'm just looking for a guy who is very funny. He can be short, he can be tall, that doesn't matter. I'm looking for a guy who just has a job. If he can make 500 Rand a month, I'm happy with that. I'm looking for a guy with a schlong this size. Bah! And then you're like, oh, boy, I fit into that mold. Let me apply. Type of thinking, because again, it's so frustrating when you find yourself in a space and all of a sudden everything that you thought you knew was absolute bullshit. Me now, when I look at CV, like when I'm trying to buy a car, when I'm trying to buy a car, I'm trying to be like, what's the model? What's the model of that car? Oh, that car is a 2016 model. Okay, 2016. Okay, so that's what, 7 years of driving. Okay, sharp. What's the mileage on that car? Oh no, that car's got 400,000. 400,000. It's been done for 400,000. How did we get there? Oh, what model is that car? Oh, that's a 2016 model. Oh, what's the mileage? Oh, the mileage is 120,000. Okay, let's bring it here. Let's consider type of mindset, so that you don't have to get shocked when you find out Ugutu Sisi has a body count of 50. You already saw in the CV. You can either be like, oh, okay, sharp, I can get, but okay, let's put it aside. We'll process it later. Or you say 50, tech, and then you carry on. You don't want to be dating Usisi for 6 months, and then she told you that she's only been with 15 guys because the 15 represents her boyfriends, right? And the other represents Justin J living her best life. But if that's on a CV, I'm not saying what she's going to tell you the absolute truth, but I can guarantee that people in CV have a ballpark figure nyana. So if her body count is 50, she's not going to write there 2. People don't do that. If a person matriculated in, let's say, 2005, they're not going to write there 2020. Like, people will lie within reason. People will say, yeah, I think I'm proficient in Excel. They might not be really good at it, but they understand how Excel kind of works. They kind of know how to open a spreadsheet. They kind of know the columns and the rows. They have an understanding. So again, if a guy is like, oh no, man, I earn 100K a month. Yeah, the guy might be lying. But a guy who's saying that and has written that to his CV and has gone out there to preach it to the world is probably earning 75 and above. They might not be at that 100 that they say they are, but best believe they're not earning 5K. And those guys who lie that extreme are few. The women that will lie on their CV that extreme are few. So let's look at the general. The general will give us a general figure of where they are. From a physical point, obviously we'd like to say I'm a little bit taller than what I am. My schlong is a little bit thicker than what I say. Whatever the case is. Financially, I'm a little bit, morally, I'm here. I've only been with 4 girls. Sure. Yeah, but it will be a better representation or understanding of Gutsugupi. And then when I pile these things together, I get to see the shortlist to 3 by interview, so I can cross this shit. Okay, all right. Then once I'm done with that, Mfunama reference. In your CV, I want 2 references from your exes. Funufuna ex akaba yi2. Babuza ukuthi wena uyiyona lento le othi uyiyona. I want to find that out. And then maybe a 3rd reference is like a family member of the opposite sex. So for me, my reference would be then my sister. Because one thing I know is that Amachita are very good at lying for Amanya Machita. We're good at that. Sisters are very good at lying for other sisters. If you call 2 of my exes as a reference point and then my sister, I'm not saying they won't lie on my behalf, especially if I was a good boyfriend or an okay boyfriend. I'm saying it's just to cross-reference. Hey, this guy says he earns 100K a month. 100K? I lumchita lo na yuna mang. Or he said that he's as tall as LeBron. Maybe not as LeBron, maybe Danny DeVito, somewhere in between. I don't know. But at least once you start cross-referencing and calling reference and finding out, you have a better understanding. I know some of you guys are going to be like, oh, that's some BS because now it's being too scientific. There's always been some sort of guideline. It's always been some sort of. If I'm a Muslim boy, if I'm Islamic, I know that the requirements for a woman to marry me is that one, she has to be Muslim as well. So you better become Muslim very quick. And two, she has to be a virgin, for the most part, So again, there's certain requirements. Traditionally, we had those requirements. Mina, I need to be in Sizwanzi, and she needed to become, or she had to be in Tombinto. Those were requirements that have changed over the time. We always had requirements. We always had standards. Then you go to family, then you go to it was scientific, because there was a formula to it. So back in the day, traditionally, religiously, there was a formula. Can we bring back this formula? Can we bring this formula so that abantu bayeke amanga? Hey nina manga nina man. Yo, let's think about CV. Even if it's a 1-page resume or 2-page resume, then but at the bottom would say full CV on demand or on request. Then I'm like, okay, let me see the 2-pager. All right, okay. This is her date. Yes. So I know with Mangjola Lusisi, I have to take on this date, at least to an extent. Oh, she's got 3 kids, but I haven't seen it on her Instagram. Or she's been hiding those kids, or she prefers to not post those kids, or those kids stay with her, whatever the case may be. But at least it's saying bonile. Saying bonile from a CV, from a physical point, saying bonile from a financial point, saying bonile from a morality point, saying bonile from a spirituality point, saying bonile from an emotional point, from a psychological point, saying bonile from whatever the CV has been split into. But I have a better understanding. I might have 10 of them, based on my requirements that I've also put out there. I've got 10 of them. I'm saying, okay, Penson's got a slot open. Penson is a polygamist. He's got Osisabai 3. He's looking for number 4. These are the requirements. Osisa like, I don't want to be part of that. Instead of you getting into the relationship and then finding out, we can't have that, guys. That is why society is so fucked. My last video was speaking around, what was it speaking about? It was speaking about cheating and infidelity and how infidelity should be illegal. We have to put these structures in place, because one thing about society, if you leave society alone, as they've left it before, it's broken. We've seen it time and time again. We don't know how to manage ourselves. It's just getting worse. We can see it. We can see that the moral fabric of the home has broken down. All of us, we all do this. It's either you the one that cheated, or you've been cheated on, or cheated, and you're keeping quiet. But it's not fixing the family unit. It's not putting us in a better space. It's not getting a community stronger and building. It's breaking everything down. We can't have that. So again, we need to find ways to formulate and make these things systematic. Again, much like how capitalism has done it and made it have formulated this thing scientifically, we need to maybe try and go back traditionally and break it down and say, this is how we're going to handle relationships. But anyway, guys, tell me what you think. Comment below. Please share this video. Guys, like, subscribe, all those good things, and have yourselves a phenomenal day. Sure.